Live. Should be
I
live
missed
right
one
now.
somewhere.
What's that, sweet?
I said I knew I missed one somewhere because when I put them in, they were all tight.
Right. Could you turn off the overhead, please? So,
There
you
we
know how
go.
we still haven't done Christmas for each other? Something you could throw into the mix for consideration is that double monitor holder.
Ooh, double
'Cause
monitor.
this is a little too high,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so if I could do it here, but still have it, because I'm tired of looking down, try to look up more, which is why I did this, but that's too much.
He's
Yeah.
trying to get it, folks.
So,
Okay.
just something to add to the consideration list.
He's
Love
trying
you.
Trying
Thank you, sweetie.
Trying to get it.
Next week, start on the projects that I want to start on.
do. If you haven't noticed, folks, we are
I
live.
thought I had that side by side, but I didn't.
Let's see here.
But
We got
let's take
people
the
watching
base-
on Facebook.
Base-
Let's see. I'm not hosting Freddie Lamb Chops. I'm live, damn it. So hello to the person watching on Facebook. I don't know who you are. I see you're there. But that's all I see.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Was in a conversation with the wifey.
Yes, he was.
I was in a conversation with the wifey.
Let's say.
We'll explain the Christmas thing that you might have heard tomorrow during the show.
Yes. It'll be wonderful.
I'll have to turn the volume down on my phone so it doesn't go beep all over, you know.
Yeah, that would suck.
Well, it'd be a nice, funny thing for, you know, crap that happens and clip that.
Yeah, right?
Kind of thing, you know.
Let's see. Put my.
Nikaya says, here, but on the phone.
Well, that doesn't help. Can't exactly, say things with you being there, but on the phone. You see?
So I guess you could kind of say she's like half here.
Yeah. She's half there.
She's half here.
Half there. All right, let's see here.
Hey, for Nikaya, she can do whatever the hell she wants to, in my opinion.
True that.
Big Tank says, I'm here, but not as well. That's a constant state for you, Tank.
Truth. Very true. I need to do a sound check on the other computer here. Hold on.
I tries to speak the truth.
That's got to go up just a little bit more.
Just a little bit. Oh, hello.
Hello.
There it is.
There it is. There it is again. All right.
Clip that.
Well, no, I did that for a reason. I was doing a sound test. My pot was too low on pot number 3. So, had to do my thing.
Why are you doing pot?
Because it's legal.
Is it legal in Connecticut?
It is. Will I ever do
Cool.
it? No.
You know, to be honest with you, with my pain level and everything, and the
You should.
the pain pills don't really seem to be working as well here. Probably over the last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
I might venture that way. I don't know. It would be something I would have to have a very long conversation with the wife about.
And your doctors.
And my doctor.
And your doctors. If you don't smoke it, eat it.
Well, and that's the tricky thing, because at least once a year we have to take a piss test
Ah.
at my pain doctor's
Lovely.
for checking for, illicit drugs and
Isn't that
such.
just wonderful?
So,
Oh,
isn't that a fun conversation to have when you're tuning in for Avenger Pretenders?
yes, isn't it? Since we're doing sound checks and all.
Right.
All right. Lady Death
Yay,
says she's here.
Nikaya's here
Now
now.
we can get ready. We can go. We can do this now.
Well, you want me to do my redneck happy birthday?
Absolutely.
Do you want to record it or not?
Oh, it's already recording.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. So, Nikaya, Mr. Lady Death, one of my best friends. This one is for you, my dear. A happy birthday to you. A happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lady Death. Oh, yeah. A happy birthday to you. Woohoo!
And many more.
The hell was that?
That was a weird dummy something or other.
Okay.
It was stupid, but funny.
I would agree.
All right. Let's do this here. Let's do this. It's gonna be great. Let's do this. WTF was that? You'll see.
Welcome once again to Avenger Pretenders. You have the geek, Sally, and the redneck, JT. We're going to review for you the latest coming out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, it's wonderful, isn't it? Hello, everybody, and welcome to Avenger Pretenders. We're going to be tackling 2 episodes today because, well, let's face it, we can't really put it off. And the only reason why we can't put it off is because this Wednesday starts an all-new Avenger Pretenders version where we're going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus, which starts Wednesday. And yeah, we kind of need to do this, so yay. Want to say hi to Cassandra, who's watching on Facebook. Hello, my dear.
She come in and say, hi.
What up? Just saying. So if you haven't watched episodes 5 and 6 of Hawkeye, spoilers, folks. Spoilers.
Spoilers alert.
You should have watched them by now, so yes, spoilers. Big time. Okay?
Yes.
Cassandra says, watch it, boys.
Never.
No.
Our show would be boring if we did that, Cassandra.
Right?
Or is it Cassandra? Which one?
Cassandra. It's Cassandra, not Cassandra. It's Cassandra.
Cassandra? Okay. Well, it can go either way. You know, it's one of them binomial things.
Big Tank says he hasn't watched Hawkeye since rewatched Hawkeye since last week. I guess he does what you do. So, you know, it happens, you know.
Right.
Oh, I'm wrong. She's going to kill me.
Matt just got slapped down.
And I know her for a long time, too. She's going to kick my ass. I'll allow it.
So it's Cassandra then.
Cassandra.
Okay.
Cassandra. Just like that.
It's weird because Cassandra sounds a little bit more
Awesome.
mysterious
It
than
sounds
Cassandra
awesome.
does.
Just sounds awesome. Just like Natasha. Natasha. Becky says, happy holidays, boys. Happy holidays.
Becky!
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And I found out that Becky retired in October. She didn't tell me until like a week or two ago.
Well,
and I'm like,
congratulations on the retirement, Becky.
right?
That's huge.
It is. She got out of the hellhole.
Oh, you must be talking about the hospital.
Uh-huh. Yay. So, yay.
That's the only one that he's ever referred to as the hellhole. So,
yes. So, yay. By the way, Becky, the little one wants to see you. So, just letting it out there. Big Tank, does she know Wayne and Garth? Does she have a band? Oh, I'll let her battle that one out with you. Anyway, we're getting into episodes 5 and 6 of Hawkeye. If you haven't seen it, spoilers are ahead. Episode 5 starts off with an explosion of things happening. And it was interesting, to say the least. The beginning of the episode, before the credits even start, it's 2018. And Yelena is helping free the Black Widows. So she's continuing what they were doing from the Black Widow movie. So if you haven't seen Black Widow, yeah, spoilers.
now wait, if you haven't seen Black Widow, something is wrong because I've seen Black Widow.
It's true. He has.
So, if you haven't seen Black Widow already, something's wrong with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy.
Hey, honey.
It's absolutely crazy. So Yelena is helping one of her sisters, Sonya, and they ambush one of their other sisters who's living the life of luxury.
Very much so.
Like, holy crap, this mansion is huge.
I mean, this is one of the mansions, like, what was it? Falcon Crest. It was one of those falcons that you'd see in the opening of that.
Yeah, this place
kind of thing,
Massive. So.
What?
You know what Falcon Crest is?
Yeah, it's a TV show.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to sip my iced tea.
Just because I, have seen the openings for it doesn't mean I watched the show.
He's got a point.
Uh-huh.
So.
He's got a point.
Maybe one or two episodes.
We got to get her a microphone.
I bet you watched Dallas, too.
Only because I had to.
And we had to figure out who shot JR, but that's besides the point. Let's get back into it. So.
Yes. I tell you, this fight scene was actually pretty freaking epic.
It really was.
It really was. It was, I mean, usually in a fight scene, especially as much as we have concentrated on the MCU and all the fights and everything.
Yeah.
Usually the fight scenes are pretty predictable. This one wasn't.
No, the weird part is, with this particular fight scene, you had 3 Black Widows going against each other, which at the same time, yes, we've seen a bunch of more Black Widows going up against 2 to 3 of them in the movie, but this was more of a one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat type of thing, Western Echo says, I'm only here to say hola, and Hawkeye was awesome. Gotta go watch The Witcher Season 2 with the better half now. Have a good show. I love how he just stops in. It's great.
Yeah, it is cool that he actually takes the time to stop in because, it takes a couple of minutes to come in here and say hi.
Say hi, leave us on, mute us, do whatever. It helps. The more people who view, the better.
Yes. Now, I will say this. There's one thing about the fight scene that tells me, because it was Sonya that they were going in to try and help, right?
No, Anna.
Or Anna. Okay, so Anna. When she threw the saucer.
Yes.
That launched the fight, you could tell she was out of practice because that's one of the worst throws I've seen since I watched my 5-year-old daughter play baseball.
Yeah.
And that was 20 plus years ago. It was terrible,
It happens, but the one thing I loved about this was they freed Anna with the red dust from the movie, helping get out of the mind control so that Dreykov cannot control them anymore. No one would be able to. And when they sit down to discuss things, Anna says to her, do you think I'm under his control? This is money. Like, I get paid to do this, So it was interesting to see a different side of one of the Black Widows that was basically doing it for money. I'm a hitman.
So how did she get out from under the spell, or was she never under the spell?
I don't know if she was 100% out of it, but, obviously once they pinned her down and they used the red dust on her, which you did see in the episode, you saw the red dust,
Yep. They got her down, they held her down. And
it basically cleared her mind, but, and it kind of brought her to her senses, so to speak. And from there, they're discussing, hey, we need your help, blah, blah, blah. Yelena excuses herself to the bathroom. And the minute she gets into the bathroom, she runs the water, and all you see is her dust away. Now, I can tell you this. This was probably one of the greatest transitions that I've seen not just in a Marvel TV show or a Marvel movie, but in film. You know, at one point in time, it was, you know, the face morphing. Face morphing was big back in the late, I'd say mid '90s to late '90s, give or take. You know, when Michael Jackson's Black or White came out, that's when face morphing really kind of took its toll with CGI and everything like that, and it worked. It worked. So then they started doing that in movies and more TV shows and so on and so forth. It's a very easy effect to do nowadays with After Effects. Anybody can do it by watching a tutorial. But here's the kicker. Because as she's dusting away, clearly this happened during Infinity War. The minute Thanos snapped.
That was freaky. It took me a few minutes to figure out what the hell just happened.
Right.
Keep going, but I have to let a dog out here real quick.
Yeah, sure. So she blips, okay? As they call it, she blips. They've been using that in the MCU. It was the blip. And the only reason why she blips is because once Thanos snapped and she dusted away, it transitions her to coming back.
Yeah, instantaneously. I mean, and that's what threw me. It's like, you know, because before she gets blipped, you know, she's got the real fancy wallpaper in front of her and the fancy mirror and light sconces and all that stuff. And then, whoop, whoop, all of a sudden, the walls turn blue and everything just changes around her. I'm like, wait a minute, what now? It took me, what do you say, babe? I got about a good 5 minutes.
Yeah.
To figure out that, okay, that was the 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And she was one who got blipped because we didn't know that she was one that was taken from the blip.
Right. We had no idea until Hawkeye. Yeah. So here we go. Hawkeye is rounding everything out again, connecting everything full circle. But what I really loved about it was the fact that the paint on the walls didn't even, like, it didn't melt or just fade into another color. It looked like it was peeling, and you saw the new color underneath it. That was really cool.
That was wild.
And then Yelena comes out of the bathroom, and she sees Anna there, or Anna, however you want to pronounce it, with a husband and a kid. She had no idea what happened. Right. 5 years of her life gone. Hell, I don't even think Natasha knew. I had no idea.
I don't think so either. I mean, I don't think anybody would really, if you were one that was blipped, I don't think you would really realize what happened until it was explained to you.
Right.
Which, because there's just this gap.
Yeah, for 5 years. And that was the thing. Anna was telling her exactly what happened. Oh, I met this guy, and, since we can't have children, we adopted. We just signed the papers the other day. And she's still doing her life of, hired assassin.
Right.
And that way, from there...
She's playing Mrs. Smith on the side.
Yeah. it basically goes into the fact of, well, I need to go find Natasha now. And she's unaware of her fate at the time. And then fast forward to the end of Black Widow, where we see Julia Louis-Dreyfus meeting up with Yelena, handing her the tablet, saying, he's the one who killed your sister, so now we know who is why she's going after Clint. Okay, and there's another reason for that, but we'll get to that. Obviously, they roll the credits. We see the Marvel Studios logo, all that good stuff, and we fast forward to present day, where Kate is now returning to her penthouse because of the fight that they had on the rooftop, and Clint told her, go home. You're done. I don't want to get you into this anymore. There's more to this. A Black Widow's now trying to kill me. You're done. You need to be safe. which we talked about in the last episode. Okay.
Well, and the main reason he was doing that, if it hadn't have been for the conversation with the mother.
Yes.
At the elevator, I don't think he would have done that.
No, he probably would have, just because of her age. He contrary to what people think, he's a very protective person.
Yeah. Well, I think the only thing that would have caused him pause would be the fact that he knew he needed backup.
Yeah.
So I think that might have caused him pause to have actually sent her away.
Sure, absolutely. And at the same time, it's one of those, if this was my daughter, no, you're going home. You're going home. You're done. I'm pulling the plug. You're out. So obviously Kate goes home to her mother, to the penthouse. She's crying. She's being a girl, basically. And and the one thing that is very, very interesting, to say the least, is how she's treating Kate's wounds. And that was the first thing that I noticed.
There was an expertise
Yeah.
in what she was doing that her, as a person with her high standing and standard of living and should not have known.
Yes. Yes. And at the same time, just watching her bandage the cut above her eye, I'm saying to myself, ooh, she knows something's wrong. She learned from Clint very well on how to apply bandages.
And here's the thing. When we were discussing episode 4 at the end of the show,
yep,
I threw out a possible scenario.
Yes, you did.
And
bring everybody up to
when
speed
I
on
saw this, and I saw the way that she was tending to her daughter's wounds, my brain started going, wait a minute. You might be right.
Uh-huh.
You might be, and you were right off the bat.
Well, Mr. Bunky, hello, sir.
Punksters!
Good to see you. I want to say hi to Mark and Chuck, who are watching on Facebook. And, hope everybody's Christmas was great. We're talking about Hawkeye episode 5 right now. So spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. We're going over it. It's been 2 weeks. So here we go. Now, the other thing is with Eleanor Bishop. And I said this in the last episode. In the comics, Eleanor was one of the main antagonists that was helping Kate Bishop's arch nemesis, Madame Mask. Okay?
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons that I'm like, I think they're going to do something similar to an extent. And I did mention that in the last episode.
Yes, you did.
So as we're continuing to see Eleanor tend to her wounds, we're also seeing that Kate lets her mother know about what Clint found on Jack.
Yeah.
And how he's using, what was the company's name? Sloan, right? Sloan Limited. Limited.
Yes, Sloan Limited.
Using it as a front for criminal endeavors and so on and so forth. And from there, she goes back to her apartment. The apartment that burned down. Well, it didn't really burn down, but it's charred, dripping wet.
It was on fire.
And, well, it was. Now it's just soaked. But as soon as she walks in, she finds Belova there.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that you can tell, that she hasn't quite honed her senses yet.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know me, okay, if I walk into a room, I can almost instantly tell if somebody else is in the room, even if I can't see them. I can almost instantly tell that there's somebody there because the hair will stand up on the back of my neck, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here?
Right, and you're looking at the windows, you're looking at the doors, going, you're on high alert. You're on high alert.
Looking in the corner, Big Tank says, "You want a macaroon?"
Macaroni.
Oh, macaroni. Sorry, yeah, macaroni.
Now obviously Kate is a little hesitant. But at the same time...
Would be too.
But at the same time, Yelena's just like, you want some macaroni and cheese? You want some macaroni and cheese?
So nonchalant. So almost like they were best friends.
Yeah. And I love that she kept saying her name, Kate Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop. Every time, Kate Bishop. I'm like, she's doing this on purpose. One, to repeat her name over and over again. And two, basically to mess with Kate to let her know, I know everything about you, you know?
Yeah.
And that was the first
and
thing
then she
that
told
popped
her
in my head. Well, yeah, and that was the thing. She did eventually tell her that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Didn't take long.
And the best part was the realization with Kate saying, yeah, that's right. If you wanted me dead, yeah, I would have done it already.
Yeah, you'd already be dead. And I think that's the second time we've heard that line within the MCU series that we've gone through so far.
Yes, and well, no, it wasn't exactly that line, but very similar. You know, and I believe it was Tony that said it about Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
If he wanted to do something, he would have done it. That's basically what he said, you know? So, a lot of callbacks. Now, Yelena informs Kate that her job is to kill Barton. And I think Kate did a really good job of pleading with her. You know, don't do it. You don't know what's going on. Don't do it. Maybe you should, you know, look into things. Because he's a really good guy. Hawkeye's a really good guy. Clint Barton's a good guy. And she wouldn't tell Yelena where he was. So
well, at that point, I don't think she actually knew, did she?
Probably not, but at the same time,
because he had sent her away. They hadn't had any contact or anything, and, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, she had, you know, he could be here, he could be there. But she didn't really know. She didn't really have any idea.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is we knew where he was because he went back to the apartment. You know? Right. Well, actually, no. He didn't go back to the apartment. He went back to one of the LARPers' apartments. So
Yeah. He went back to the firefighters.
Yeah. So at the same time, Yelena's lecturing her on what it's like to be a person. Truly defines who a person is, and that Barton is this, he's not the person that she thinks he is. Which goes against everything that Clint does.
Right, and Yelena is basing all of that on what Clint did in the past.
Right. Which...
Before the, you know, or... right before the blip or right after the blip happened and before that.
Yes.
Not anything that he'd done since he had really become an Avenger and, as she points out, save the world.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, because now mind you, Natasha didn't really get to tell Yelena anything about Clint.
Right.
Nothing. Because she was always off doing her own thing and doing what they needed to do. And she really only found her until Black Widow.
Right.
And then...
But she found out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she found out. That's for sure.
She finds out the hard way, but she still finds out.
Yeah. So she tells Kate to back off, don't interfere again, or, yeah.
I'll kill you.
Something's going to happen. And then she leaves. Meanwhile, we have Kazi tending to Maya's wounds from the wonderful scuffle that she'd been with, not just Kate, but Clint and Yelena. So that was a wonderful, a wonderful
That was
fight.
a fun little three-way there.
Yeah. And he basically tells her, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. This is gonna get you hurt. It's gonna get somebody else hurt. You gotta stop. I'm worried about you. And this, at the same time, Clint stops off at Grill's apartment, drops off Lucky, and Grills offers for him to stay in the apartment for Christmas. And he does. He goes to sleep. He pulls out his earpiece. He puts it down. He goes to bed.
He passes the hell out. He didn't go to bed.
Yeah,
he passed the hell out.
Passes out on the couch with Lucky next to him.
See, I can't call the dog Lucky. To me, the dog is Pizza.
Yeah, but really, the name's Lucky. We know he's lucky. They even say he's lucky. Yeah. You're lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
And at the
I
same
still like
time,
pizza though.
It's also a good tie back to the comic book as well. So it's there. It is there. So once that happens, Eleanor is now getting Jack arrested.
Yep, she set him up
for what was it? What did they say? Fraudulent tax records or something like that. Basically tax fraud.
I think that's what it was.
If I remember correctly, it was tax fraud. It's been 2 weeks, so the new episode's still fresh in my mind. And man, let me tell you, when we get to that, but
even Tank agrees with me. He says, "I agree with JT. It's pizza.
It's pizza." So while that's happening, Kate is trying to get in touch with Clint to let him know that Yelena's around, and he's not answering the phone. He's not. And I understand why he's not answering his phone, because he doesn't want Yelena to track him. And what Kate's doing currently is giving Yelena the ability to possibly track him. Okay? And he doesn't want that, which is why he's not answering the phone. It's why he went dark. He's doing spy stuff. He's now back as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., as a spy, but also as an Avenger. So a lot of what's going on is perfect. Now, at the same time, she also maxes out his voicemail inbox. So, yeah, a lot of things going on there. He's pretty much not even going to answer the phone. But we see him right outside Grand Central Station, where the battle for New York took place. And Big Tank says she's also acting like the clingy girlfriend as well. But that's the whole point. That's her hero. She's trying to do good, And we know she's trying to do good. So, yeah, calling him, trying to get him to respond, so on and so forth, that's going to happen. It's going to happen no matter what. You have to do that. But again, we find Clint outside the Battle for New York Memorial, where it's got all of their names on a plaque. In this spot, the Avengers stood to battle the forces of blah, blah, blah.
You know, it lists them all one by one.
Yep, lists them all. And he's basically talking to Natasha. And he says it. He's like, Nat, I don't know. I'm sorry. I got to do things that I said I wouldn't do. Oh. But I got to do it. And you could tell it was like, it was one of those
what was
things.
He was like, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do, I think was the last line as he turned and walked away.
Yeah. And to me, that, what I got out of it was, even though she was dead, which we know she's not dead. We know she's going to come back. Eventually, she's going to come back.
Like I said to you when we were talking about this, and I says, she's dead. And then my immediate comment after that was, even though we know she's not really dead.
Right. No one stays dead. No one stays dead. So from there, the one thing that we have to remember is with the way he was talking, just like as if he was at a grave, he was basically asking her permission to do what he needed to do.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she ever got a gravesite, did she?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
No, she's...
So he had to have somewhere to go to talk to her.
Yeah. Battle for New York.
I mean,
why not?
I mean,
You're in New
granted,
York.
there was a lot of traffic there, and, me being me, the last thing I would want to do would be to sit there and talk to a wall while there's, hundreds of people walking by going, yeah, there's something wrong with him.
Yeah. But in New York, nobody knows the difference. Nobody knows the difference. People talk to themselves all the time. And now with earpieces, everybody's talking to themselves even though they're on the phone. So it's just another day in New York.
Right.
So what he does is he as he's leaving, we see him get the Ronin outfit, and he lets the tracksuit mafia know that he's coming, and he wants Maya by herself, telling her only her, no one else, come alone. And they were at, what was it? It was the auto shop where he first killed her father.
The place that they first met.
Yeah.
That would be the garage.
And while that was happening, Laura Barton gets in touch with Clint and learns of the situation that's at hand, how Maya found the family. They are trying to avoid the, quote, big guy. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, big guy. It's the Hulk. No.
You have to consider the person that's saying it, though.
Yes.
If it was, Natasha or Hawkeye or Thor or one of the Avengers, the big guy is automatically the Hulk.
Yeah.
However, if it's, Maya or one of the other bad guys,
yes,
it kind of changes the meanings of the words.
Without a doubt. Now, here's the other thing. While she was on the phone with him, she basically gave him 100% permission to do what he needed to do to end it tonight. End it. Get it over with. Just do it. Do what you need to do. And that tells me that there's more to Laura than meets the eye. Which we've had a feeling. We have had a feeling about this.
Yes. And, the fact that she says that, and this was after he revealed to her that they knew about her and the kids.
Yes.
So, you would think most normal people that would automatically put them in panic mode.
Yeah.
But her voice didn't change.
No.
Her persona didn't change.
She was very mellow.
Very calm.
Very mellow about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's what I liked about it. She was like,
yes.
Okay. I know what you're capable of. Do what you need to do. So with the Ronin outfit on, Maya did not show up alone, which whenever they say show up alone, nobody ever shows up alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Even if
either
it's just one person sitting behind a sniper rifle.
Yeah, a sniper rifle off in the distance, goons on the ground. It never fails. There's always the come alone. No, I'm going to come and, bring all my buddies.
Can I say this?
Yes.
How stupid are them freaking goons?
Oh, my God. They're horrible.
Watching them try to silently work their way through the mass of cars was one of the most comedic moments I've seen in this series.
Yeah. Big Tank says she was a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't care. She was an agent. We know this.
We know this now, yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew it from the comics, but...
Well, yeah, you did, but
right.
We is a me, you know.
Right. And there's going to be more revealed, trust me, especially if you don't remember episode 6, which coming up. So Barton takes out pretty much every single goon that he can think of, starting with Kazi, who is the sharpshooter up in the billboard there. Because the minute they were saying, hey, he's going to be here, plunk, he's out cold.
And Hawkeye, being the smart man that he is, took out the biggest danger first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody else. Yep. And this was probably my second favorite fight scene. Not just in the series, but in all of the Marvel Studios TV shows so far.
Wow.
And the only reason being is it was kind of it was a continuation from that first fight when he was saving Kate in the factory warehouse. You know?
Yep.
Only this time it was, I'm going to kick your ass. You're not
we ain't
getting
gonna
up
play
from
around
this.
no more. I'm gonna kick your ass.
And sure enough, with all of Maya's training and everything else like that, she was no match for Clint. She was no match for him. We knew she was not going to be a match for him. Held her at sword point and unmasked himself, saying, you need to stop.
Yep.
And the best part is he didn't just say you need to stop. He signed it to her.
Yep. And the part that I liked about the conversation, because she's sitting there going, no, that's not true. That's, you know.
Yeah.
And he looks at her and goes, why wasn't he there?
Yeah.
Why wasn't he there? Why wasn't the person that is supposed to be the most important thing, that you're supposed to be the most important thing for, wasn't there?
Yeah. And
because he was talking to the boss.
And that's the best part, is that Clint flat out told her, your boss wanted your father dead.
Yep.
And the best part is she didn't believe him.
Right.
Which worked. It worked. It made it work hands down perfect, because she was still filled with rage against Ronan. You know? One of
the things that when you're playing psychological games with somebody, or when you're trying to get into their mind, is make them question the thing they believe in the most.
Yeah, which is family.
And he was able to do that because of the fact that the number 2 wasn't, her father's number 2 wasn't there.
Yes.
That night and all of that. So he was able to put that seed into her mind, and then it grew on its own from there.
Yeah. Scuffle still continues. Barton gets knocked down, and lo and behold, Kate shows up and saves him. Because she kind of did one of those, that's it, I've had it. You're not returning my calls, I'm going to find you. And the best answer to that was, you tracked my phone, didn't you? I tracked your phone.
Yeah.
Yes, I tracked your phone. Next time, answer my calls. And obviously, as they escape, now she lets her know that, Belova's arrival in New York is, for a good reason. To an extent, anyway. At the same time, Lopez escapes and meets up with Kazi. And starts to interrogate him on why he wasn't there. Where were you? What's wrong? Like, where were you? How come you weren't there for him? So on and so forth. And he flat out said he had other plans. He had to be somewhere else, which we find out later on where he was.
Yep.
And as as Kate and Clint are regrouping, they're at Grill's apartment, I believe they were at, right?
Yep.
Because
the firefighter.
Because Yelena doesn't know where Grill's apartment is, so they're there. They're talking, and all of a sudden, Kate gets a text from Yelena. And even in text message form, Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
Kate Bishop.
Did he make the partner statement here, or was it after? Was that in episode 6 where he said that?
I think it was after.
So it would be episode 6 then.
Okay. And so Yelena took it upon herself to find out who hired her to take out Clint Barton. And with the text message that followed, there was a picture. A grainy picture, nonetheless, but a picture.
It was a video.
Oh, was it a video?
It was.
Oh, that's right. It was a video that they paused. That's right.
Yeah. You know how somebody sends you a video and it just sits on the first screen with the little play arrow on it?
Buffer. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And when when Kate showed Clint the picture, he immediately
I love what he said.
That's the guy I've been worried about.
That's the one we've been trying to avoid.
Yep. And it is none other than
Fade to Black.
The Kingpin.
You called it.
Boom! I called it.
It took them the entire episode to bring him in, but they brought him in.
But you know what? And Western Echo will agree with me on this, because I messaged him as soon as I saw it. I went, the greatest villain reveal ever.
It was good. I will say it was good.
It was the greatest villain reveal, hands down.
A modern day villain reveal.
Yes. And it worked perfectly, because you didn't hear him. You didn't see him walking around. You didn't see him talking or shaking anybody's hand. You just saw a blurred picture of a guy in a white suit with a black shirt and a bald head talking to Kate's mother.
Oh.
Greatest reveal ever.
It was good. It was good.
And I'm so glad they did it that way. I really am, because it was flat out amazing. Not exactly a 100%, best kept secret, because I had called it, but at the same time,
you have a lot of prior knowledge on this stuff too.
Yeah, but even still, it's one of those things where, with my filming background, if I was writing it, that's how I would do it. It's like, think of it this way. In the original Friday the 13th movie, you didn't find out it was Mrs. Voorhees until the end of the movie, right? You just saw people getting killed. You never saw the killer. You never did, until the reveal at the end. This made it hands down the best reveal. Okay? And it was awesome. It was awesome. Now, of course, what episode of Hawkeye would be complete without Easter eggs? Because you need Easter eggs. And the first and foremost is a tie-in to Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, for those that haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm not going to spoil it. However, there is talk of a new and improved Statue of Liberty in Spider-Man No Way Home. where basically they were putting Captain America's shield on the Statue of Liberty.
So, my question then would be, and this is when you probably won't be able to answer or won't want to.
Uh-huh.
If there is a new Statue of Liberty, is it because the old one got destroyed during the movie? Or is it because they just wanted to modernize it, I guess, and do that by adding the shield to it?
Basically what they were doing in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie was they were taking the torch off of the Statue of Liberty and putting Captain America's shield on it. That's it. That's all they were doing.
Okay, so it wasn't because it was like destroyed or anything like that.
Yeah. So while Kate and Yelena are talking, they're talking about sightseeing. And Yelena said, oh, I want to go see the new and improved Statue of Liberty and Rockefeller Center. And Kate's like, yeah, you got to go see the Christmas tree. You know? So during that whole conversation, they tied it to Spider-Man No Way Home. Which, if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend going seeing it. Not just because I'm a Spider-Man fan, but because it was awesome. It was awesome. And you'll find out what happens to the Statue of Liberty.
No Way Home has been destroying the box office.
Oh, yeah. It's already at $1 billion.
Over the past, over the past 3 days, it already broke the $1 billion mark.
Yeah.
In earnings already. That's just after 3 days.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
What does that tell? Besides the fact that people are finally getting out of the house and going to the movie theater again.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Obviously, we've got some more tie-ins with Eleanor Bishop, who she is, why she's hanging out with the Kingpin. We know she's a bad guy. We know.
See, that's something that and I love the way they played it throughout the series until the end of this episode and going into episode 6 was that Jack, they pushed everything over on Jack. The perception was that Jack was the bad guy.
Right.
And I was sat there at the end of episode 4, I tossed out the idea of, what about the possibility that she's the bad guy and Jack is the one that's being duped?
Yes. And
I tossed that out there, and then it happened, and I'm like, holy crap, I was right about something.
Yeah, you were. Big Tank also says, don't forget, that's the last Marvel film for Tom Holland, too. Apparently you're not reading the same things that I'm reading. They're already talking about a new trilogy, as well as Tom Holland staying in the role of Spider-Man and Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios making it. So, yeah. Your information is a little outdated, but that's besides the point. Anyway, so we do see that Kate Bishop's mother is kind of becoming the evil bad guy, so to speak. Now, the other thing with Jack, Jack is the swordsman. He is technically still a bad guy. He does eventually become good, help the Avengers in the comics, but he still goes back to his villainous ways. So that's also a twist that we may see coming. We may not. I'm not sure. But you got to keep that in mind as well. The obviously it ties into Black Widow. We've mentioned this in the beginning of the episode, where Julia Louis-Dreyfus comes in and she says, "Hey, here's the person that said this, and this." Big Tank says Marvel Studios said they aren't buying Spider-Man from Fox 20th Century. No, that's Sony. They own Fox. Disney owns Fox and 20th Century. Spider-Man is Sony. They just inked another deal where they're going to be able to do more movies under the Marvel Studios banner. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Tank's looking dumber than me right now.
The other Easter egg and one of the last ones, and there really weren't a lot. There was more tie-ins than anything. Was at the end credits of Hawkeye episode 5. You can see the outline of the Kingpin in the credits, and you see both the Archers. So that's one of the things that you're like, yeah, all right, the Kingpin's coming. Yes. And it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It was just, and the best part is, looking at the picture, you're like, that's Vincent D'Onofrio. That's Vincent D'Onofrio, and he played such a great Kingpin. So, before we get to episode 6, JT, what do you rate this episode?
I'm at about a 3.5.
Really?
I'm at about a 3.5. It was actually rating pretty low for me.
Wow.
Through the majority of it. The saving graces for it were the beginning fight scene.
Okay.
With Yelena and Anna and them. The other one was the fight scene between Maya and Clint. That was awesome. The rest of it just really didn't, for some reason, really didn't do it for me. It was a good episode overall, don't get me wrong. But I'm actually having a hard time giving it a 3.5, but I'll give it a 3.5.
Oh, that was so much. See, I'm complete opposite. I'm going 4. I'm going 4 to 4.5.
That's not very far from a 3.5.
Well, I mean, you're just barely giving it a 3.5. I'm at a 4. 4 to 4.5.
4, possibly 4.5.
Yeah, possibly 4.5. Just because the fight scenes were fantastic, and it kept you going. Like all of a sudden, the episode was over, but the reveal of the Kingpin was hands down the best reveal ever. And that's what knocked it up for me, because I knew it was coming. I had a feeling it was coming. The minute they mentioned Uncle in the beginning of the season, I'm like, are they going to get him? Did they get the Kingpin? Because they teased him. And Marvel's good at teasing people. And then all of a sudden, going off on a whole nother tangent. They've done that so many different times. But to me, I'm going to give it total for the episode 4. I'm going to give it 4.5 arrows for this episode, because that reveal was just hands down the best. It really was. It was the best. I don't know how they would beat that. I really don't. I don't know how they would beat it at all. So that's what I say. 4.5.
I can see where you're coming from. I think something that didn't really push it up any higher for me. I liked the reveal, but the reveal wasn't really a reveal. If you're somebody who's outside of the MCU, if you're somebody who doesn't have the history and everything that you have as a comic geek and MCU geek and all that,
guilty.
Blurry image of a bald guy in a white coat doesn't really say anything. So to me, the reveal was actually kind of anticlimactic.
Oh, you're killing me, man. You're killing me.
I think that's what hurt it. But the thing that you always say is that I need to look at things from my view, not as somebody who's starting to understand these things more.
Absolutely.
So not knowing, I mean, I know who the Kingpin is, don't get me wrong.
Everybody knows the Kingpin.
I didn't remember. I remembered the name, but I didn't remember, who it was and what it was. So
maybe
the reveal was kind of like, okay, so this is the guy you were worried about, but I really still don't know who this is. So it was a nice tease for episode 6.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
for the full reveal. But to me, this was more of a teaser of, okay, next episode you're really going to find out who this is.
Yeah. Oh, and you
know,
will.
If it would have been a clearer picture,
Mm-hmm.
where it wasn't so pixelated and you could tell who it was a little bit more and you could actually see it because it was so quick.
Okay.
It would have pushed me up to a 4.25.
Okay. I get you.
But,
I get your point.
But because of how, like I said, it was the reveal, as you call it for me, wasn't really a reveal.
Okay.
It was a teaser for the reveal.
It was here.
Makes sense. Here's the corner of the brownie. We'll give you the rest of it next time. Or here's the wrapper for the Reese's Christmas tree.
The corner.
We'll give you the candy next week.
That's awesome. The corner of the brownie. I love it. I love it. The corner of the brownie. All right. So from there, we get into episode 6, the final episode. So this is Christmas. I love when they title things with a question mark. So this is Christmas. This one, I'm not going to give the rating until the end, but personally, it's probably the best episode I've seen. But we'll go from there. We start off with Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin himself, meeting up with Eleanor Bishop. And, she basically tells Kingpin,
I'm done.
I'm done, but, I also murdered Duquesne III for you, framed Jack like you asked me to, and now my daughter's getting involved. I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to relate to you. Nothing. I'm done. Right. And
it was a very interesting conversation.
Very interesting indeed, especially when Vincent D'Onofrio, as the Kingpin, reprising his role from the Daredevil series, flat out says the chilling words, "Just think about what you're doing."
Mm-hmm.
And she flat out said,
"Okay, I understand."
Yeah, but think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And he also goes into saying that, you're going to be making a big mistake. And she flat out says, I have a private server with all of our conversations, all of our information. I can basically bury you in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Not something you want to say to the Kingpin.
No. Yeah, I think she was doing okay in the conversation until she mentioned the insurance policy.
Yeah.
And the insurance policy basically sealed her fate.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. Not much you can
you
do about that, but
you're done for.
So, at that same time, Yelena sends footage of the meeting to Kate and Clint, who now they're seeing the full conversation of what just happened, what we just saw. And
Kate's going,
yeah, like, how could you do this? Is this my mother? Really? And at the same time, Kate is trying to tell Clint to go home, protect the family. Family matters. That's the important thing. You need to leave. I got this. And that is when Clint says, no, we're partners. Not leaving you. And that was the line that JT was very excited about. Because it was a complete turnaround from all the previous episodes of, you're not my partner. Yep. You're not my partner. No way. You're not my partner. No. At the same time, Maya meets up with her uncle, the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, and Kazi, declaring that she is done hunting for Ronin and that she is leaving them for good. Leaving them both behind, getting out of there, doing what she needs to do, and she's done. She's out. Which is also a bad thing to tell the Kingpin, even if you're family, because he's the Kingpin of crime in New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, people didn't look or watch Daredevil to see what the Kingpin is really capable of. But that's besides the point.
Right.
So, the best part following that is when Clint is talking to Kate, he flat out says, "We're gonna need some trick arrows, a lot of trick arrows." And
she the only way I can put it was she got her instant jollies when he said that.
yes, oh yeah, she was so excited. You can make more? Yeah. Yeah, I can. So the two of them start to make new trick arrows from scratch. And while they're making it, I was paying very close attention to them making them. And she was asking a lot of different questions about certain things, the way some of the trick arrows work. And then he handed her one. And she goes, "Well, what does this one do?" And he goes, "Very bad things."
I like the fact that she was actually labeling.
She was
the
a
arrows.
label maker.
With the frickin' label maker.
Not just any label maker, though. It wasn't just
The
any,
old-fashioned kind.
It was the old-fashioned kind where you actually had to hit the frickin' trigger.
Pick your letter, click.
Yep.
Pick your next letter, click. I hated them things, but they were awesome.
Oh, they were. They were. And she was labeling all of them. You know,
Well, she was labeling the really dangerous ones.
yes. Really dangerous. Boom. And I loved it. I loved that that's what they were doing.
Yep.
Because, Clint's been doing it so long, he knows exactly where all his trick arrows are in his quiver. She's brand new to this, so she doesn't know. So yes, pulling it out and seeing the label, nope, not that one. Switch it back. Nope, not that one. It works perfect for the novice. Even though she knows archery, she's one of the best archers there is, And seeing the label, I'm like, she's labeling them. This is great.
I was kind of laughing too.
So from there, after they're done making the trick arrows, they head to her mother's Christmas Eve party, and the party was at Rockefeller Center, which, to be honest, that's probably one of the greatest locations for any type of Christmas party. You've got the tree right there in Rockefeller Center.
Yeah.
It's all decked out.
The ice skating rink.
Yeah, you got everything there. And I thought it was really cool that's where they were having it. And while they're at the party, they're basically looking for Eleanor. They're looking for, pretty much anybody that could possibly cause harm. And
I liked what he said. He says, basically when they first got there, as they're looking around,
yeah,
he says, okay, find the bad guys.
Yeah, find the bad guys.
And she looks around and she identifies a couple people that they need to pay attention for too. And then he says, okay, find our allies.
Yeah.
And who does she find?
She goes,
the LARP group.
She goes, don't worry, I got this.
They're all over.
Everybody here? And they all chime in, all their first responder buddies. And obviously, Jack Duquesne was released from prison, so he's got a sword on him, and, then out of nowhere...
How cheesy was that? I mean, how cheesy do you have to be to walk into a freaking Christmas party
wearing a sword
with a sword on your hip, and not be in some sort of full military dress?
Agreed. The other thing is, I love the conversation between Clint and Kate about that, and and I'm gonna have to kind of agree with them that, stylish, yet no, I didn't kill my own father or uncle or whatever it was for Armand. You know, that to me, that's basically saying, no, I'm innocent and I'll prove it.
Right.
You know, especially with the sword that was used, which is technically the Ronin sword from episodes ago. But yeah, I mean, the guy was stabbed with a sword, and we know this. So at the same time, we have the two of them scoping out the party, making sure everybody's okay, trying to find Eleanor. They see Jack and Eleanor. And at the same time, Kazi and the Tracksuit Mafia are setting themselves up. And Yelena walks in as well.
Right.
Would you like to check your coat? Nope. Walks right by.
Okay.
And what I love about it is what happens next, where Kate walks her mother into the kitchen. Right? Was it the kitchen or around the kitchen?
It was off the kitchen.
Yeah, like maybe like a pantry, I guess you could say.
Yeah. You know?
It
was basically a restaurant storage room.
There you go. Perfect. Excellent.
Basically.
That sums it perfectly. And trying to get her away from the Tracksuit Mafia because now they're all trying to kill her due to the Kingpin saying, take her out. And she's confessing to her crimes. And Kate shows her the video. And Kazi, who's in a building across the way with a sniper rifle, is trying to shoot Barton.
Right.
And everybody's running for cover, and Belova is chasing Barton. So
this series of events that happens in this initial
so
part of the run, if you weren't paying close attention to,
yeah,
you could very, very easily get lost.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, if you're not dedicating 100% attention to what's going on, you know, you sneeze and you just lost track of what was going on.
Yeah.
It was that fast. It was that busy.
Blink and you miss it.
Yep.
Blink and you miss it. So Barton decides that he's going to get everybody to run for cover, get everybody out of there. Belova's chasing him, and Barton forces Kazi to retreat and get out of his hideout from across the way. Shoots an arrow, like a gas arrow, basically almost knocks the guy out with it. You know, but he gets out of there. We know he gets out of there because, you know, we see him get out of there.
Right.
And Kate tells her mother at the same time, stay where you are, don't move, you're still in trouble, I'm not done with you, don't leave.
Well, and the biggest reason was because she knew that Kingpin's people were after her mom and she didn't want her mom to die.
Yeah. And, well, she runs out, clearly, and Kate's going off to help with the fight. And at the same time, we see Jack using his sword to his advantage. He's taking people out left and right.
Yeah. And then the LARPers said that, you know, people weren't listening to them as they were evacuating the building, and they're like, okay,
we need to do this.
we need to change.
Yeah. Nobody's listening to us. Nobody.
So they go and they change, and all of a sudden people are listening to them because they're wearing a freaking costume.
It's weird, right?
It was. That was really weird.
But think about it. That's what people would do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not in some kind of I don't really want to use the word, but it's appropriate. If you don't see somebody in an authoritative uniform directing you in that kind of situation,
yeah,
the chances of you really listening to them are very slim. But if you see, you know, some kind of an outfit or some kind of a uniform, the brain just says, okay, do what they say.
Yeah, do what they say. You know? Move along. You know, at the same time as everybody's escaping, Kate decides to chase down Belova. And I'm not gonna lie, the fact that she's trying to protect Clint, because Clint's now on another floor, and Big Tank, first responders are in outfits, and I hated it. Yeah, but there was a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
It worked, you know. So I get it. I do. I get it. They're not even working. You know, you're not going to see a first responder put a police uniform on when they're not working. They're not working. Should she have had her gun on her? Absolutely. Yes.
I wouldn't warn it.
But understandable why they did what they did. So as Kate's chasing down Yelena, they come to the elevator, and Yelena says, "No, don't do it. Don't do it." And Kate jumps in the elevator with her. And the two of them are just, standing there.
That was fun. That elevator ride was one of the most fun ones I've ever seen.
That was the comedy of it. It was like, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this was a tie to Jon Favreau too, by the way, where in Elf, the movie Elf, which Jon Favreau directed, Will Ferrell hits every single button on the Empire State Building's elevator.
I want to push the button.
Yeah. So to me, that was a cute little tie-in and homage to Jon Favreau, who started the MCU. And as Kate and Yelena are talking / fighting, they're going hand to hand. And the two of them, she's like, "Don't even try it. No, don't. Why'd you do that? That wasn't nice."
Right.
It was just, an adult talking to a kid.
I was just waiting for her to look at her and go, "Really?
Really?
Really?"
Wait, well, she did.
Come on.
She did do that. And then, of course,
really? Come on.
the coat's off, and now they're in their outfits, and the two of them are just the screen chemistry. I've said it before. Haley Steinfeld's screen chemistry with Jeremy Renner has been fantastic. Anybody she is on screen with, the chemistry is just there. It's so believable that you're like, she's actually a really good actress.
I have to laugh at what Tank says. He says, "I've done that many times in elevators," referencing the push all the button things.
Who hasn't?
And then he goes, "Especially in Stony Brook Hospital."
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Now,
in Stony Brook Hospital.
I can understand doing it in a hotel or in a residential building, but in a hospital?
Yeah, there was a reason he had to have done it.
Yeah.
Big Tank just doesn't
kind of
do
a
that
no-no.
unless there was a reason. So as they're fighting in the elevator, Clint is fighting off the tracksuit mafia, and what's his name? Kazi finally gets to where Clint is, and Clint's going floor to floor. Not even floor to floor, like room to room, setting up traps for these guys. And as they're setting up traps,
Yeah, he's booby trapping his path.
oh yeah, he's ready to take them all out and have a grand old time. And it cuts back to Yelena and Kate. And they're doing the same thing, only they're going room to room, office to office, window to window, beating the living crap out of each other.
The rib kick.
The rib kick, yeah, that was a good one. That hurt though.
Yo.
Getting pushed up against a glass window and it cracking, like just with the way the two of them were fighting, and getting winded. It reminded me of A Princess Bride. The Princess Bride, with Carrie
It was kind of
Elways
a
and
Peter Griffin chicken fight.
Peter Griffin chicken fight that you know, all right, I need a break type of thing, you know, and they're sitting there talking about it, and then they continue on. That's what it reminded me of. And even with The Princess Bride, you know, you have the Man in Black and Inigo Montoya, you know, fencing, and they're talking the entire time. Like they're best friends. They're buddies, you know? And that's all I could envision with the scene with the two of them, because that's how great it was. And they're still literally, she's trying to go after Clint. She's trying to save Clint. And the two of them are just fighting like, you know, you did really good on that one. So
you are a much improved fighter from the last time we fought on the rooftop.
Yeah. So as the Tracksuit Mafia is about to ambush Barton, he's trying to kill him. Barton sets off his trap, takes out a bunch of the Mafia guys, and gets to the point where he knocks out Kazi too. And then he's like, all right, I gotta go. Tries to escape. But first, while that's happening, Yelena blows out a window and goes out the window and down to try and get Clint. And all you hear is Kate warn him, Yelena's here. And you know, she tries to kill him.
Basically, he says, "Oh goody."
Good. Great.
Oh goody. Another one.
Whoop-de-doo. Here we go. So while that's happening, obviously she zip lines down. Then Kate follows and tries to do the same thing. And even Clint gets to the point where he's got to escape the Mafia now. So he goes to zip line out, and
it breaks.
Well, what was it? He got kicked out, right? I think he got knocked out. I think Kazi or one of the other guys pushed him out, or did like one of those wrestling jump kicks where the two of them hit him and he went flying.
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
But Clint ends up in the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center.
And who did he see?
An owl.
And that is a great throwback to last year.
Yes.
When they actually found, after the truck carried the tree from wherever they got it all the way into New York.
Yep.
They found this baby barn owl.
They found the barn owl in the tree in real life. So it's a great callback to
I saw that and busted out laughing.
Oh, I was dying. I'm like, it's an owl. That's great.
And the owl's sitting there looking at him like, the hell are you doing in my tree?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, huh? So, at the same time, now we've got him. He's stuck in a tree. He's got his bow and arrows. He's just stuck in a tree. And the LARPers are trying to get everybody out now. You know, now they're listening to them because they're in their gear. And Bishop decides to try and find Clint. And he goes, I'm in the tree. I'm okay. Leave me alone. Don't do anything stupid. And she uses an acid arrow. So she decides to take out a couple of the strands holding the tree up. And bye-bye tree.
I was sitting there, and I'll be totally honest with you, because I watch the Today Show every morning. It's always on.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, and I'm watching this tree come down into the skating rink and everything else, and I'm going,
here it comes.
I wonder how the hell they did that.
CGI.
I mean, and if all of that is computer graphic generated stuff, that's amazing.
Either that or they recreated it on a sound stage and did it that way.
I mean, that would be a whole lot of shit to do on a sound stage to recreate Rockefeller Center.
Why not? They destroyed Avengers
for taking
that way.
Yeah, for taking that tree down and everything. I mean, and I'm watching, I'm going, it looks like it happened right there.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
and everything. It's like, that's crazy.
I have a feeling they just recreated it on a soundstage and did it that way.
Mm.
And most of it was probably CGI. So now that the tree is down, now a fight breaks out. Tracksuit Mafia guys are coming from pretty much every angle that you can think of.
It is a never-ending stream.
Yeah.
It is a never-ending stream. I even looked at Kay and went, how many freaking guys does the Tracksuit Mafia have?
A lot.
I mean, you saw at least 1,000 guys there.
I will say, as Kate is getting to the tree, though, Clint obviously is holding his own. He's using his trick arrows to take out the guys. And the one Mafia member who was having a fight with his girlfriend in, what was it, episode 2 or 3? And she was giving him love advice on this. You got to listen. He's telling her, gun to her and everything. I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you for everything that you told me to do. We went to see Maroon 5 instead, and it was wonderful. And she goes, "Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so happy for you." Now what's with the gun? What's with the gun? And then takes him out.
Smack.
So takes him out, starts heading toward the tree, and she's able to help Clint and get there. And now the two are on the ice, and there's just Tracksuit Mafia guys coming from all over the place. All over the place. They even get to the point where Clint takes off his tuxedo and he's got the suit that they made for him underneath. And she goes, "You wore it!" He goes, "Yeah, I wore it. Let's not make a big deal about it."
Yep.
And then gives her more trick arrows. And she goes, "It's time?" "Yes, it's time. Have fun." We're partners, right? Boom. So the two of them using the trick arrows, they're doing what they need to do. And of course, two morons from the Mafia drive one of their trucks at full speed down onto the ice, and they use a Pym particle arrow and shrink the truck.
That was funny as hell.
And when they shrink the truck, you can hear the two guys yelling and screaming as like chipmunks. Like, oh, you can't hear what they're saying. And they're standing over them. And at first, Christy, as she's watching this, "Oh, just step on it." I'm like, that's a little harsh.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, just step on it, just crush it.
Step on it, or pick it up and move it out of the way, or put it in your pocket or something, do something.
Throw it through a window, just chuck it.
Get rid of it. And, Kate goes, "Well, so what do we do now?" And Clint goes, "I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Scott about that." And all of a sudden, the owl from the tree swoops down, grabs the truck, and flies away. I'm like, that's fantastic.
That was perfect. That was beautiful.
It really was. It was perfect for it. I'm like, well, they're dead. Whether they died or not, who knows?
Baby's got lunch.
So yeah. At the same time, Grills locates Eleanor outside, and Kate goes to run because Grills calls her and says, "Listen, your mom's outside. She's getting away. You gotta go." And at the same time, Kazi is returning to fight, and Clint throws an arrow at him, catches it, and he says, "Hey, nice shot." And Clint responds, "Yeah, no shit." Because it was one of those shoot the arrow, because there were two guys next to him, and he shot the other one real quick to split the arrow into two to take out the two guys. Just like he said, it's really easy to do. You shoot a wood arrow.
And they him and Kate actually discussed that shot.
Yes, earlier on. He goes, it's actually really
when they were making
the
arrows.
It's really easy to do. You shoot one, shoot the other right after it, and it'll split. It'll split right up the middle. So when he caught the second one and says, "Nice shot," no shit. He wasn't going for Kazi. He was going for the other two. So at the same time, as Eleanor's trying to escape, the big man comes up.
Yeah.
The big man comes up, and oh boy, shit's getting real now, because as he's coming up, Lopez decides to confront Kazi right after he catches the arrow. So now we've got a back and forth going on between Kazi and Lopez, and now Eleanor and the Kingpin. And Kate's trying to get to the door. And as Kingpin shows up, he rips the door off of Eleanor's car and tries to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to take her out. And
that was a hell of a fight, too.
It was a very big hell of a fight. Now, at the same time, more shit happens, because as that's going on, Yelena shows up and starts to attack Clint. And as Clint is defending himself, and I noticed this in the fight, Clint's defending himself, but he's not attacking her.
Yeah, he's not fighting back.
You know, he's defending, like, you know, he's doing blocks and whatnot, but he's not flat out attacking, kicking, punching. Like, he's holding his own against her. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very interesting, because that goes to show the family love that he had for Natasha.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and he wanted to try and make Yelena understand
exactly
what really happened.
Exactly.
Because the impression that she was under was that her sister was dead because of Clint.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted to end him because of that. And Clint knew that, and he was trying to get Natasha to understand, look, that's not what happened.
Yeah. He's flat out telling her, no, Natasha sacrificed herself.
Yeah. You know how Natasha is. She's very hard-headed, and it was a choice she made, and nobody was going to stop her.
I tried.
and that's when Yelena starts to really think about it.
Yep. Big Tank says he's pulling his punches like Black Widow swore he was doing throughout the Marvel series. In Civil War, he was pulling his punches against Natasha that Scarlett Witch called him on. You're pulling your punches, and flung her. Yep. So yes, but you're not wrong. He was pulling his punches. He wasn't trying to hurt her. He wanted to let her know, no, this isn't what happened. This is what happened. And obviously in denial, you know, she attacks him. She keeps lashing out at him, kicking him around, throwing him. They're fighting. They're fighting. And he finally gets her to stand down by doing the whistle that Natasha and Yelena shared as their secret whistle. And when that happened, it kind of got her to the point of, where did you learn that?
Yeah, when he did the whistle, when he did the secret whistle.
Yeah. So,
which Big Tank just mentioned.
So the whistle alone not just saved Clint, but also got Yelena to go, oh, wait.
It stopped her attack.
Oh, yeah.
Completely. She didn't attack him again after that.
Because they were the only two who knew it. But it just goes to show that when Clint rescued Natasha in Budapest, that friendship that they developed was so much more than just, hey, how are you? You know, we're best buds. You know, it was more than that. And clearly, you know, after them naming their third child after Scarlet Witch's brother, you know, and still technically Natasha, you've got a lot going on there with not just Clint and Romanoff, but with Laura and the kids too. So there's a lot more that we didn't see that we know about. Because listen, Clint would do anything to trade places with Natasha. Anything. Especially since he knows about Yelena. And when he finally, when they finally stopped and he's like, it's finally good to meet you. This is what happened. I loved her. She loved you. She would do anything to protect you. I just wish we didn't have to meet in this way. And then finally realizing that they're both grieving. And let's face it, Clint was still grieving.
Oh, yeah.
It hurt him that she did that to him, So from there, we go back to Fisk.
We go from so nice and all how pretty touchy-feely to holy crap, they're beating the hell out of each other.
Yes. We see Kate trying to save her mom, and she takes an arrow and shoots it right into Kingpin's chest.
Yeah.
Now, clearly, with this whole scene, it was wait a minute, that didn't kill him? Number one, it's the Kingpin. Number two,
it's revealing who the Kingpin is and why he is as much of a badass as he is.
Yeah. And number two, do you really think he's not wearing anything underneath that's going to protect him? Come on. That's number two. Number three, a car comes and hits him, and Eleanor's the one who's driving, and he goes flying into a toy store. And he gets up.
Yeah,
he's
that was
the Kingpin. The Kingpin, he's one of the only guys that I know of that can go toe-to-toe with Spider-Man and get back up. He could probably go toe-to-toe with the Hulk, and the Hulk would kill him anyway. But it's the Kingpin. He's super strong. His intellect is off the charts. And yeah, he's human. He's not indestructible, but he's still human. Kate goes into the toy store and starts kicking the crap out of him. And he throws her. Not just once, but like 3 or 4 times. And finally gets to the point where as she's shooting arrows at him, he's also telling her, this is not your fight. Get away.
Yep.
Stay out of it.
I don't want to hurt you, but I will.
Right. Grabs her arrows, snaps them in half, and throws her. Just throws her. And as he's walking toward her, he gets to the arrows, and she gets a clip and does the shot that Clint taught her. And she activates, what would you say, like almost all of the trick arrows? Give or take. The electricity ones, I know I think that's what she triggered. It was the electricity one that she triggered, and it just went all over to everything.
Yeah, it triggered all the other ones.
And it blew him up. Blew him up.
Sent his big ass flying like Superman.
Yeah. So he's been shot with an arrow, hit by a car, went through a wall, got up, shocked, and blown up. You would think he would be defeated. But
you would think.
After he's out cold, Kate goes out of the toy store and, she
confronts mommy.
She confronts her mother and gets her arrested.
There is one line that I loved that they didn't use that I think they should have, which would have made it the ultimate scene.
Yeah. And
that is when the mother, I can never remember her name.
Eleanor,
yes. When she looked at Kate and says, "Is this what an Avenger does? Has their mother arrested?" I swear to God, silly. I'm laying here on the bed as we're watching this. All three dogs were asleep, and all of a sudden she says that line, and I'm almost screaming at the top of my lungs. Yes, that's exactly what an Avenger does.
Exactly.
All three dogs jumped up. Like, what the hell's going on?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That is exactly what an Avenger does.
Yep.
And she even tells her, no, an Avenger does what's right.
And that's what was right.
And she did what was right. Her mother committed a crime.
Yep.
Has the video
Multiple
evidence to prove it. You're under arrest. Done.
Yep.
Done.
Now, that's not to say that she won't be there for her mother during the trial, when she goes to trial and blah, 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 and all that. But
exactly,
at that point in time, she has to do what she has to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And she did it. And I was very proud of her for that.
Now, as she's getting arrested, they go into the police go into the toy store, and Wilson Fisk is not there.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to an alleyway, and there's Kingpin walking around, stumbling. He's hurt. We know he's hurt. And I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Vincent D'Onofrio plays the greatest Kingpin I've seen so far in live action to date. He is phenomenal.
That's a big statement.
It's a very big statement because we've really only seen 2.
Right.
3 if you count the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, which is more off the comics anyway. But don't get me wrong, Michael Clark Duncan, he's a big guy, But Vincent D'Onofrio nails the Kingpin, Very threatening guy. Well, Maya catches him in the alleyway.
Yeah, she pulls up in a truck. One of the tracksuit mafia trucks, actually.
Yep. And she confronts him, and she doesn't say a word, clearly. And it's all him talking about family. Family does certain things, They do things that need to be done, and some things can be taken out of context. And as he's talking and talking and talking, she pulls a gun out on him, and the camera goes up, and all you see is the gun go off. You just see the flash from the gun, and that's it. Now,
it was basically the blood is thicker than water speech.
Yeah, blood's thicker than water.
He was trying to give.
And as he was giving it, obviously she shot him. He's not dead, folks. He's not dead. Mostly because if we tie it back to the comics, which they did, they tied a lot to the original comic of Hawkeye. The whole situation between Maya and Wilson Fisk, yes, in the comics, she does shoot him. In the comics, he does survive. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. But I can tell you this, he's not dead. All right?
Hey, that was actually kind of a knowing in the back of my head that nobody truly dies in the MCU other than the 2 people that we know about. It actually made that scene less meaningful to me. Yeah. Knowing that in the back of my head, at first I'm like, oh, she shot Kingpin, he's dead. And immediately the back of my head goes, no, he's not.
Well, and
I was
that's
like,
the thing.
Shit.
That's the thing that you got to remember is that no one really truly stays dead in Marvel comics or in comics in general. Right. They always find a way to bring people back. I mean, hell, Bucky died. They brought him back, and mind you, when Bucky originally died in the comics, it was decades before they even brought him back as the Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. And I mean decades. So a lot of things can happen when it comes to doing Marvel comics and killing people off. Just like Natasha Romanoff. She's died so many times. Tony Stark is like 4 or 5 life model decoys in. Okay, he's died so many times it's not even funny. So
no more surprises.
Yeah, no more surprises. But they're gonna do what they're gonna do. The other thing is at the end we cut to the Barton farm, and Clint gets out of the car, and he's opening up the trunk and pulling out some presents, and he closes the trunk. He's all bandaged up and everything. And the first thing he says is, "Hey, you coming?
Are you coming?
You coming?" Now, at first, I thought maybe he brought
Pizza.
Yelena.
Yeah, I was thinking pizza. I was thinking he brought the dog.
Well, they did bring the dog.
Well, yeah, but I didn't think Yelena or even Kate. I thought he just brought the dog.
So he made it home for Christmas Day, and like I said, at first I thought Yelena because, Natasha's sister and all that good stuff. Clearly I was wrong. It's Hawkeye, so, Haley Steinfeld gets out of the car with Kate Bishop with the pizza dog, also known as Lucky. And they even said the dog's name is Lucky. And while they're there, they're celebrating, celebrating Christmas. They say, "Listen, I brought a guest home. This is Kate Bishop. She's she's all alone on the holidays." And Laura welcomes her with open arms. The kids welcome her. They're opening presents. They're having a great time. And as Clint is sitting there talking to Laura, he says, "Oh, by the way, while I was in New York, here's the Rolex that I found as part of the Avengers."
Let's see, what was it? Look what I found at a black market auction.
Yes, a black market auction. And handed it to her. And now, mind you, before the whole reveal, there was one point in time where I said there could be a number of different things with the watch. And one of the theories that I said was the watch was Tony Stark's watch from Captain America Civil War, that all he did was hit a couple of buttons and you were able to get that little gauntlet on his hand, that you were able to have a repulsor on it, and it was basically just for emergency use only, that we saw in the What If cartoon as well that Happy had. Clearly, I was wrong. But again, it was a theory, because as the episodes went on and it was more and more, I got to get this Rolex, it kind of came clear. And when he handed the Rolex back to Laura, which confirmed Laura was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., because when she flipped it over, you saw the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo, and then underneath that logo, you saw 19.
And that was the setup for next season.
That's the setup for, hopefully, the second season. And I went, holy shit. And I'll tell you why in a little bit, because it's an Easter egg. But from there, they show Clint and Kate outside. The barbecue grill is not on yet, but they have the Ronin costume on the grill, and they light it and set it on fire. And while they're watching it burn, Kate says, I've been struggling and trying to come up with a good superhero name for myself." And she goes, "How about Lady Hawk?"
Yeah, no, that would be the wife's name.
No. We'll get there. But Lady Hawk is taken anyway. Not even a Marvel character. Well, actually, Lady Hawk is a Marvel character. If I remember correctly, I believe they're twins, Lady Hawk.
The brother sister.
No, this is Lady Hawk is what the hell's her name? Damn it. I'm trying to
Anyway,
remember. She was like the first female Falcon. But Lady Hawk, if I remember correctly from my comic history, she was a part of the MC2 comic line, which is another version of Marvel. Takes place in the future, where the kids of the superheroes basically take up their mantles. So, for example, Peter Parker's daughter, May Parker, she becomes Spider-Girl or Spider-Woman. The son of the original Juggernaut becomes the Juggernaut in this series. Iron Man is completely gone, but he's got an AI that basically keeps him alive. The daughter of Captain America is the new Captain America, only they call her American Dream. Like that type of thing.
Madeline Sammy? Sound familiar?
Which one?
Madeline Sammy?
Madeline Sammy. Maybe.
I'm looking here on Wikipedia. It says, what is Lady Hawk's real name? It says Philippa Margaret Brown.
Well, you also have Rosetta Morgan, too.
But then it says, what nationality is Madeline Sammy? And she's from New Zealand. So,
Interesting.
who is Lady Hawk married to Madeline Sammy? Lady Hawk's spouse.
Interesting. No, I'm thinking more along the lines of Rosetta and Regina Morgan, because they're twin sisters. And they both took up the mantle, and one of them eventually got paralyzed from the waist down. But again, different comic. You know, it's still Marvel comic, but at the same time, Clint kind of just goes, "Nah, that's stupid." And then she comes up with another name, and he goes, "You know what? I got one." And then it cuts. It cuts to.
You're not thinking of Lady Hawk Johnson from the Venture Brothers series, are you?
No. And I'm not thinking of Lady Hawk, the movie, either. No, this is another Marvel character that comes out.
All right. Anyway.
So as she's suggesting names, Clint's just like, no, that's stupid. No. Hey, you know what? I got a suggestion. And then it cuts. Because, like, you know, Avengers Assemble in the first two Avenger movies that you never hear.
Mm-hmm.
This one was, you know, she's going to take up the mantle of Hawkeye. We know she's going to take up the mantle of Hawkeye. We know that. So, lo and behold, obviously, we have Easter eggs. So, yay.
Boom quick.
The biggest one, clearly, is number 19 on the back of the Rolex. Which, for those comic book aficionados, number 19, Agent 19 to be exact, is none other than Mockingbird. Yep. Mockingbird. There are many people who have donned the name Mockingbird in the Marvel universe here. Bobby Morse is one of them. She was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. But Mockingbird is one really strong and awesome agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Which now brings it full circle of how much she knows and what she can get her hands on because she's a former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, the comics do reference that in one universe or another, Barton and Mockingbird had a relationship. They got married. They had kids, so on and so forth. So, obviously, they just made it where Laura Barton is Mockingbird. or at one point in time she was Mockingbird, then retired, and then Bobby Morse took over. Possibilities are pretty much endless. But that basically confirms the suspicions that she's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She is known as Mockingbird, and she is a force to be reckoned with. And I can't wait to see her in action. If she comes out of retirement, obviously. There's a wonderful tie-in where, aside from the Pym particles, which clearly they used, there's also Stark arrowheads that they were using while they were making everything. The minivan is, well, that's pretty funny in and of itself, because it just goes to show that, as he mentions in the episode, I don't know, I'm going to have to talk to Scott about this. So Scott and Clint are still talking. They're still buds. They're still friends. They're doing what they need to do. Just going down the list. I was right. Yay. As they're burning the Ronin suit, they talk about Lady Hawk, which twin sisters Rosetta and Regina Morgan. Yay. I was right. So we may see them eventually as well. And then, of course, we have the owl. The owl. Mm-hmm. So the owl obviously refers to the owl that they found in the tree in Rockefeller Center in New York. But there's also a tie. And JT's hanging his head like crap.
No, I'm watching my cat.
Oh, okay. There's also a Daredevil character who goes by the name of Owl. And to be honest, I think it's a great tie-in. We've already seen Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin. We've seen, if those who haven't seen Spider-Man, I am going to let you know that Daredevil is in it. Matt Murdock is Spider-Man's lawyer. But we kind of knew that going in, that he was going to need a good lawyer, and Matt Murdock's the only one in New York that would take the case, clearly. So there's that. And I think it'll be interesting to see if they decide to bring in the Owl and they do another Daredevil series, which would be pretty cool. There's also an Endgame reference. As they're walking away, you can see the target that Clint and his daughter were using in the beginning of Endgame. So, obviously, you can see that target gets used all the time, so on and so forth. And it was a really good tie-in to, hey, no, we're back on the farm, and here's proof. Here's proof that we're back on the farm. So, all in all, JT, how many arrows do you give this episode?
Of this episode, I give 4.5.
Woo! 4.5. All right.
4.5. It was a great episode. It tied in and tied up a lot of things really well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The fight scenes were awesome. All around, I would have to give it a 4.5. I can't give it a 5.
Okay. All right.
But 4.5.
All right. So at the same time, what do you give the series as a whole?
As a whole, I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and I was debating on a 4.5 or a 5.
Okay, all right.
I settled on a 4 3/4.
4 3/4.
4 3/4. It didn't have enough. Even with the introduction of all the new characters and the references to, the old characters and the plot twists with the mom being the bad guy and all that. But overall, 4 3/4 is a really good series. I would sit down and watch all 6 episodes in a row, multiple times if I wanted to. It was definitely something that I would revisit.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. I'm going to give it. This episode was definitely a 5 for me. mostly because of all the ties, the callbacks, connecting everything. Vincent D'Onofrio's version of the Kingpin, I've said it before, hands down the best that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, his character is a little bit different in the MCU than it was in the Daredevil. Either that, or with Daredevil, they never actually showed his true potential just yet. So, adding in his super strength and everything, like in the comics, is hands down a great callback to it. The action was phenomenal. It was by far one of the most well-written episodes that I've seen out of all the shows so far. The best? No, but definitely on the list for one of the best. I still think the episode that you and I were even on with Falcon and Winter Soldier was phenomenal. And I think this
the only episode that you and I both hit a 5 on.
Yeah, and I think this one comes in like close second. Like, holy crap, I can't believe it's that close type of thing.
4.99999.
Yeah, like that close. The other thing is showing Yelena and Clint fighting and him trying to get her to stop. That was, to me, that's like, no, listen, you're her little sister. I'm not going to fight you. She wouldn't want this. And that kind of sealed it for me. So all in all, I thought this was the best episode out of all of them. So many callbacks and reveals, and it was phenomenal. When it comes to the series as a whole, I am going to say, in my opinion, hands down, it is 5 arrows. It is better than any of the other shows that have come out so far. Mostly because of the genre. And at the same time, it didn't feel rushed, even though they were only doing 6 episodes. Because if you think about it, each episode took place in a day.
Mm-hmm.
It was 24 hours. It took place in a day. And the cinematography was just phenomenal. The screen chemistry between all the actors, hands down, the best that we've seen so far. I really think this was just so well written, directed. Everything was just off the charts with this one. And the reveals were so great. And not for nothing, the Easter eggs, there really weren't a lot of Easter eggs.
Good.
There was just a lot of callbacks. Because, I mean, think about it. How many Easter eggs did one of the Falcon and Winter Soldier episodes have? I had like a list.
About 50.
Yeah, there was a list of them. So they tied it very close together to Avengers and Endgame, and just keeping it street level. They really did. They kept it street level, which is where we kind of needed it to be.
Yeah.
You needed something like that. Do I think it's going to get beat? Yeah, probably. They've got a slate of shows that are coming out, one of which is Secret Wars with Nick Fury, and Samuel L. Jackson's reprising his role. So who knows what's going to happen. So all in all, I'm giving it a 5. It's so far, for me, it's the best series that Marvel Studios has made so far. That's
Falcon and Winter Soldier is still the best for me, but this was close. This was close.
I like to think of it as the punch before the Rock'em Sock'em robot head pops off. One of them is going to outdo the other in just one shot. But all in all,
and again, it all depends on whose perspective you're looking at it from.
Right, and for me, I'm looking at it as the geek side of it. All the Easter eggs. I'm looking at the little tiny things that are going to go, wait a second. Like the 19 on the back of the watch that you didn't find out until episode 6. Proved my theories wrong. I get it. It happens. So to me, hands down the best. Hands down the best. We'll see what happens. However, that is the end of this week's Avenger Pretender, and for this series, the next one is version 5. Version
Yep.
5. And clearly we don't
Where
have
we
a
step
Marvel.
outside of the MCU universe.
Yeah, we're gonna go a little far left, and we're far left and far right, and we're gonna take a zigs and a zag, and go to a galaxy far, far away. Because as of Wednesday, the book of Boba Fett is going to be out, and we're gonna have a third person. Oh yes, that's right. It's gonna be the geek, the redneck, and our special guest for every single episode, hopefully, which will be Western Echo. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can't
The
wait.
geek, the redneck, and the outsider.
There you go. The redneck, the geek, the redneck, and the outsider. So special guest Western Echo will be joining us for the Book of Boba Fett, Avenger Pretenders, version 5, starting next week, 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday. For all of us here, I hope you all have a happy New Year, and we will see you next week. And don't forget, we are live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. for the Sully Show. And tomorrow's show, I will flat out tell you right now, is going to be a whopper, because JT doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to say it right now. I'm going through all the shows for this year, and I'm picking 10 of the best dumbasses of the week.
Nice.
And we're going to pick one that is going to be the dumbass of the year. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. It's going to happen, folks. It's going to happen. So keep it locked in, because you never know. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you guys next Monday for Avenger Pretenders. Later. Oh, yeah. We're still live, but we're going to do a raid now. We're going to do a raid. We're going to see who's on. We're going to do a raid because we can. Let's see here. Who is live tonight? Let's see. We've got... Oh, let's see here. Bunny Tails? No. I saw Kev was playing a game, but he's not streaming. Let's see here. You know what? We're going to raid Fork My Life. Why not? Fork My Life. That's what we're going to raid, folks. We're going to raid Fork My Life. And she is currently playing Mass Effect Legends. So yay to that. So let's do it. Fork My Life. For those that are subscribers, make sure you use Punchers Unite and the Accidental Punch logo. We will see you guys tomorrow for the Sully Show at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a whopper. Later, everybody. Bye-bye. 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 One. And go.